Monday, March 11th, 2024, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. We're going to look at authoritarians or bullies or dictators, whatever you want to call them. When they're in power, your assets are under threat, yes. And we're going to look at Switzerland and what Switzerland got to do with that. Well, Switzerland has fallen from grace from being not just a safe haven for a sound currency, but now it looks like they're going after people's private assets as well. And I'm going to refer to a classic, a book that I hadn't read yet, and I'm reading right now. I had watched several movies about it, but it's this one here, The Count of Monte Cristo, and by Alexandre Dumas. And you might ask, what's that got to do with anything? Well, it's got to do with treasures and hidden treasures, for that matter. And am I saying that you should hide everything now? Well, almost, really. When you listen to Joe Biden, the way he speaks now at the State of the Union address, so aggressively and combative, having a go at the Supreme Court, having a go at everyone that doesn't agree with him, and also the Swiss situation. Is it any wonder that gold is starting to break out? Is it safe to keep your gold in the banks or in a private vault? I would say a private vault is a bit safer. You have to work that out for yourself. And of course, it depends how much gold or silver you have, depends how wealthy you are. But I think things are getting really serious. There is no more rule of law, I would say. And before I go further into the Swiss story and also the book, just wanted to say, talking about safeguarding your valuables, it's interesting that I was contacted by the Dirty Men Safe and the people there almost a year ago, and it's getting worse. And that's why I think it's more important than ever to have somewhere to hide your valuables. I'm not saying you should put everything in the Dirty Men Safe, but it will make it harder for the bullies or authoritarians to come after what you and your family have worked so hard to accumulate through effort, through your talents and hard work. And if you're interested in a Dirty Man Safe, check out the description of this video. I have a promo code Monaco10. You get 10% off the Dirty Man Safe. And yes, they ship it to the UK as well. They are based in the US. So, yesterday on the live stream, the Sunday live stream that I do regularly, almost every Sunday, and there are rare exceptions when I won't do it, someone asked me why gold is going up now, and I gave him some reasons. I mean, I recommend you watch my live stream, but there's one thing I forgot to talk about, and mainly because this came out last week. I had seen it, but it just went over my head. There's so much information out there that sometimes you forget. So this is from Friday, March 8th, and it's on Yahoo News. Swiss Parliament backs measure to confiscate frozen Russian assets for Ukraine reconstruction. Some of you might say, well, it's more than fair that Russia's assets are confiscated by the Swiss, who's supposedly a neutral country, who's not involved in the Russian-Ukraine war, right? Well, this has never happened before. Switzerland did not confiscate American assets when the United States invaded Afghanistan, Iraq, when it invaded Syria, more recently. It didn't confiscate UK or British assets. Why now? Well, and I spoke about also the fact that the Swiss franc is anything but a safe haven anymore. It's living a bit like the dollar on its laurels of a sound currency. And why do I say that? And I'm going to come back in a minute to this article. Just wanted to segue into the fact that Switzerland's safe haven status is not just disappearing right now. It started disappearing about 25 years ago with the 1999 Swiss referendums, which took Switzerland off basically a de facto gold standard where they kept 40% of the value of their currency in gold. They had about 2,590 tons, as you can see. So with that referendum, that was over. And many of you know that I lived in Switzerland and I still have family there. And I remember back in the 90s, before this happened, because I lived there till 1992, there's hardly any inflation in Switzerland. House prices, real estate were very steady. There wasn't a bubble or anything, but now there is, and it's because of this. And Switzerland only has 1,000 tons now, so they sold more than half their gold, which is a really stupid thing. But what this goes to show is that the powers that be, the globalists, they're gonna force countries like Switzerland to become un-Swiss. They're going to force countries like Singapore, in my opinion. They're not going to be able to withstand the pressure of being a place where things are safe. Am I saying the Singaporeans are going to do that? No, but I think if they can force the Swiss to do it, they can force anyone. And that's why I'm saying this is serious and nowhere is safe. So let's quickly go through this article. It says the upper house of the Swiss Parliament voted on March 7th. Well, that was Thursday. And it's weird how the gold price is kind of breaking out. I know there's a lot of other reasons for gold going up, but anyway, they voted on March 7th to approve 3 measures that would open the door for the future confiscation of Russian state assets frozen in Switzerland and redirect them to Ukraine's reconstruction. The lower house has already voted for the measures. Western countries and other partners immobilized around 300 billion of the Russian central bank's assets at the beginning of the full-scale invasion in 2022. Debates over the legality of channeling these funds into Ukraine's reconstruction have prevented allies from transferring the money, but ongoing delays in U.S. military aid have prompted heightened urgency. If they can do that to a sovereign government, they can do that to everyone. So anyone who has some wealth stored in Switzerland, in my opinion, with a bank or financial institution, if you don't toe the globalist line, you got to be careful, I think. And that's why I don't think Switzerland or anywhere else in the world is a safe haven anymore. And I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to put a link to this article in the description. And going to reference this book now, The Count of Monte Cristo, by Alexandre Dumas. It's a classic, of course. I bought this recently. I thought I'd want to read it, and I'm getting through it quite quickly. It's hard in the beginning because it's old language, the way it's written, but once you get into it, it's great. So what about the treasure that Edmond Dante, that was the name of the Count of Monte Cristo, he found on the island of Monte Cristo. Well, that had been there for about 300 years. And it was a treasure from the Spada family from Rome, one of the noble families, aristocratic families of Rome. And they hid that treasure there. and it stayed there for 300 years until Edmond Dante found it. And you need to read the book to see how he found it, of course. It's a really interesting story. But who was the bully 300 years before? Well, it was the Pope, Alexander the Sixth, of the Borgia family. And his son, of course, Cesare Borgia, was a bit of an adventurer and a bit of a criminal, really. And in the book, he apparently was after this treasure. So there you go. There's the old saying, you know, the more things change, the more they become the same. It's an old French saying, of course. And who's the Cesare Borgia of today? Well, it's not just one person. It's the globalists, the central banking cabal that controls everything, that controls the World Economic Forum. So we actually might be lucky being small retail investors that need to hide a little bit of our wealth, because they're not going to come after us. They're going to go after the big whales, right? And that's why I think it's really dangerous to put too much of your wealth into cryptocurrencies, because we know who is behind the creation of the internet, the World Wide Web. You know, we know who it was. It was Cesare Borgia. Of course, not him, but the people in charge today. And that's why I think it's really dangerous. And I'm not surprised that gold is going up. I'm not surprised that countries like China and others are buying so much physical gold. Of course, they're not buying gold futures contracts on the COMEX. They're not buying unallocated gold or silver on the LBMA. They're not buying GLD or SLV. No, they're buying the real thing, and that's why I think you should too. They could very easily confiscate GLD and SLV. And I think Clive Thompson, he said that before, that he thinks they're going to go after the ETFs. They could go after your Bitcoin ETF. You know, you've got Larry Fink now saying Bitcoin is the best thing since sliced bread, or even better than gold. Well, what he's trying to do is save the US dollar from the real threat, of course, which is real gold and real silver. So there you go. Switzerland, no more a safe haven. If sovereign nations cannot have their assets safe in Switzerland, nobody can. Not even the Swiss themselves. That's something for them to think about too. It's not just foreigners. And in the United States, it's the same thing. I mean, the United FDR, I think, was the only leader apart from Stalin who confiscated gold. So it's been done before, and it probably will be done again. But it could be different this time. It could be more, you know, ETFs or digital assets. And that's why I think it's good to have a little bit of physical outside the system, and make sure you keep it wherever you want. You could put it in a private vault, or you could, you know, non-banking institution. You could keep some yourself, or you could dig it in your back garden or backyard with the Dirty Men safe. So there you go. Let's quickly look at where the markets are then this morning. It's 8:23 a.m. London time. So we got spot gold at 21.81. It's up about $2. High's been 21.89. The low's been 21.76. Silver's up 4 cents, 24.34. High's been 48, and the low's been 22. The Dow futures is down 45. The Nasdaq futures down 45 as well. S&P down 8 points. To the currencies, the pound is down about 0.1%. The euro is unchanged. The dollar is down about 0.2 versus the yen, 146.78. The dollar is down 0.2 versus the yuan, at 718.70. So the dollar has come off quite a bit versus the yuan from above 721. Another thing I wanted to tell you quickly is that hedging dollar weakness by holding other fiat currencies, in my opinion, is a mug's game. Why? Well, because all fiat currencies are going to sink versus gold, or are sinking versus gold, and will sink versus silver. Yes, you might need to keep a bit of fiat, and you might want to have it in the euro or the Swiss franc or the pound, but be aware though that they're no better than the dollar, and the dollar is no better than any other fiat currency. So let's quickly look at the commodities market. WTI crude, that's unchanged, 77.70. Brent, it's trading at 82. It's up slightly. High grade copper, that's unchanged, trading just below 390. Let's have a look at platinum. Platinum is up $8, trading just above 920. So recently we're down around 880. So platinum is picking up again nicely. Let's quickly look at the bond market. Let's check the 10-year yield, see where that is. Well, that's at 406. It's down 2.5 basis points. So with that, I'm going to wish you all a great start to the week. Take care. Bye.